boy Kane.
And your boy James.
And welcome back to the channel.
We hope you guys had a great New Year's, and we are kicking off 2019 right because we are talking about Future's highly anticipated album, The Wizrd, and we're covering everything that you can expect from it. So, first off, the album's title comes from a nickname that Future got from his uncle, so Wizrd. I mean, wizards can see into the future, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Anyways, he's dropped 2 singles so far. The first single was Crushed Up. I thought it was pretty good. Had decent energy, kind of like a trap anthem vibe, and had good production. And then a few days later, he came out with Jumping on a Jet, and it was pretty forgettable, overly auto-tuned, and the hook was garbage.
Yeah, agreed. And if this is any indication of what Wizrd is to sound like, then to be honest, we're a little worried.
Yeah.
We expect to hear singles from Future such as F Up Some Commas, Low Life, and Mask Off. But these tracks just didn't do it for us. We're not very excited for what's to come on Wizrd based off of these singles, unfortunately.
Yeah, and in a recent interview, Future touched on the fact that this is his last project on Epic. So we're a little bit skeptical that he might be holding back the best material and save that for a future project, on a later project that he'll have under a new deal with better negotiation, so he'll get a better share of that revenue. So we're a little bit worried that this might be like some really mediocre tracks to just maintain relevancy.
And if that's the case, we can kind of expect to see the same producers that he's used before, so Metro Boomin, Southside, and Zaytoven. What we want to hear from him, fortunately, is new producers. Tay Keith, Ronnie J.
Murder Beats.
Or Murder Beats, that would be amazing. But yeah, we're kind of holding to the fact that Future's probably going to hold to his staples and kind of release tracks that he's done in the past, just based off of the record deal situation.
Yeah, so one more thing that we know, based on the interview that he had recently, is that there's only going to be one feature on the album. Yeah. So we put our heads together, we thought about it, and we were like, who could this be? Because Future wouldn't tell us. So
the predictions for that.
So the predictions for that are potentially The Weeknd, Meek Mill, and Lil Baby.
Yeah.
And the reason we thought Lil Baby might be on there is because when he was asked about like who's running the trap scene right now, Future was quick to respond with Lil Baby. And then he also mentioned Gunna, but it seemed like he was a little bit partial to Lil Baby in that question. So,
of course, yeah. And the other predictions we have for Meek Mill and The Weeknd, Meek Mill and Future have this relationship that has stood the test of time, even with the Drake and Meek Mill beef back in 2015, and they've produced bangers of them themselves. The relationship he has with The Weeknd, there's chemistry there.
For sure.
There's chemistry when they get into the studio and they make records. They make records like Low Life and Coming Out Strong, which are bangers, and arguably some of the more commercially successful songs from Future. So it only makes sense for Future to bring somebody like that as a powerhouse back to his album to kind of build up that steam. And The Weeknd, as we all know, is kind of in rollout for his own album coming, we would imagine, very soon, 2019.
Yeah, and I mean, just to touch on that a bit, I mean, so we know that The Weeknd and Future have a history together, and he said that he wants to have kind of like a mix of sounds from stuff that was from like his earlier material to the stuff that he's worked on more recently, so you get like a broad range of Future music in this album, which could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. The last thing I was going to touch on for the album is kind of our predictions on where we want Future to kind of travel to with this album.
Yep.
I would like to see a Future or a Hendrix type of album. James, on the other hand, would like
Yeah, I want to see like a DS2 vibe. DS2 is like a great album to me.
But again, you can expect. We're expecting the same, much of the same from Future that he's done before.
So we're gonna drop a review for his album probably the day after it comes out. So
Stay
subscribe, hit that bell so you know exactly when it comes out, and you know, drop your opinion. Let us know what you're thinking as far as how this album should sound. And that's it. Cheers.